Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And I know I have taken a longer gap now, but as I've said in one of my comments, because of some technical issues, the main technical issue is that my computer has some problems and I've given it for service, and unfortunately due to this lockdown it's not been repaired yet. So yeah, that's why there's a delay between my videos. So let's get to straight to this video. So what this video is about is Dieseltronic, as the title might say. So I've made a lot of videos on my cruise about Dieseltronic, its performance, about PMC air filter. You can see the cards there. You can also see in the suggested videos at the end. If you have not watched the performance with Dieseltronic video, you can go watch it here. So yeah, even though I've made so many videos on it, I've never explained what really Dieseltronic does to your car and what it is and how it helps you gain that performance, or why you should get Dieseltronic or any tune for that matter. So this video is going to be about that. So what Dieseltronic is a piggyback ECU. What it does is it manipulates your original ECU. So as you can see in the footages that I've attached here, this piggyback ECU connects to the injector, the diesel injector and the boost sensor, and the original injector wires and the boost wires get connected to the Dieseltronic's hose, the wiring harness. So what Dieseltronic does is, the car's ECU is programmed to provide so much fuel in so much boost together. Like when the RPM reaches to 2000, in my case 2000 RPM is when the boost kicks in, the turbo kicks in a cruise, and that is when there is a program written into the computer of the car to provide so much fuel and so much pressure at that time. What Dieseltronic does is, when that signal is processed from the ECU, it goes into Dieseltronic. Dieseltronic fools the original ECU saying yes, that much fuel and that much pressure only is going, but in turn it is providing a different ratio, due to which the boost kicks in sooner, the fuel is less consumed. Now I'll tell you how the economy increases. Okay, so supposingly you're in P1 mode, and as I've already said in my Dieseltronic video, the turbo kicks in at around 1500 to 1700 RPM. So let's say you are a casual driver, you're driving in the city and you don't want to go fast. When your car kicks the turbo in at around 1700 RPM, what you tend to do is you switch the gear. You don't go higher. Also remember, in a diesel car or any car, the more accelerator you give, the more fuel is consumed. That's how it works. More accelerator, more fuel. So when your turbo kicks in at 1500 to 1700 RPM itself, you switch to the next gear. So similar thing. So to reach about the cruising speed of 80, you won't take much longer and a lot of fuel is not consumed. That's how your fuel efficiency is increased. Now when you compare it to the stock mode, 2000 RPM is where the turbo kicks in. So you'll take the car to 2000 RPM, the turbo kicks in, you go to about 2500 RPM, you switch to second gear, and then you again do the same thing. So the fuel consumption is higher on that. That is why, the fuel efficiency is more in this one, as I said earlier. So when the turbo kicks in sooner, that is when you feel the real power and pressure. Now if you want to drive the car for fun, I don't think you'll get the economy, because from 1500 to 3000 RPM, if you take the car, the fuel efficiency will go down, but the pleasure is amazing. Okay guys, so that is that. Now let's see why, what are the different modes in Dieseltronic. So there is economy mode, stock mode, P1 and P2. Economy mode reduces your boost pressure itself, so you feel like the car has barely any turbo. It is there, I'm not saying it's like a dead car, it is there, but when you are constantly driving in P1 and you go to economy mode, you feel like you're driving some very low cc car, and it's not very fast. So yeah, economy but it gives you really good economy if you drive slowly and switch gears sooner and you have a constant speed that you're maintaining. Stock mode does nothing, takes the values from the ECU, sends it to the boost and the fuel injection. So mine is a dual channel box. So dual channel is what controls the fuel injection as well as the boost. If you have the single channel box, it only controls the fuel injection. So how does that help? More fuel is provided, so the more power you gain. But in a turbo vehicle, it is always recommended to get a dual channel box. So I didn't want to, it's about 6,000 rupees difference in both of them. That's why I went for the dual channel box. Okay. So the P1 mode increases your efficiency and your power by 15%. In this, as I said, the turbo kicks in at around 1700 rpm, and you tend to change the gear faster, and then you are at a cruising speed, you get a better mileage and good power. So for the city and all that, it's perfect. I think P1 is the most balanced mode in this entire setup. I'm sorry I'm sweating because it's really hot. Okay. P2 mode, on the other hand, is a power horse. Okay, the power is increased by 40%. So in my car, in calculations, it should come up to 195 bhp, or I think 30%, if I'm not wrong. I think 190 bhp or 195 bhp is what my car should come up to. So it is a pretty good value, and you feel like a petrol car when you're in that. So the power delivery is amazing. You can feel it. I've made a video on that also. You can go check it out. The car becomes like a petrol car. The acceleration, the pedal response is like a petrol car. Instant pull and all that. So that's why when it gives you more fuel, more boost, fuel efficiency goes down, but not drastically. Now many people have been asking me two things. One, 0 to 100 timings, and also second thing, should you go for a piggyback ECU or a tune? Now I'll address both of these concerns. 0 to 100 changes by a second maximum, second or two. So maybe the stock takes around 11.5 or 10.5 seconds, and this might take 9.5 seconds. Not a big difference. It's a diesel car, it's a 2 liter. You cannot expect something like a VRS or Polos, because they are small and they go. But what makes the difference is from 0 to how much it goes. That's what I'm telling. This car pulls from 100 to 190 or 200 like it pulls from 0 to 100. Trust me, I'm not exaggerating. That's why people love the Cruise. There are people in stock mode touching 220 in this vehicle, the needle touching full capacity of it. Okay, then imagine the performance with a Dieseltronic or a tune on it. That is what blows your mind. There are cars which takes a lot of time from 100 or 120 to reach 140, 160, 170. These Hyundai cars, there are many Hyundai cars. I mean, Verna is a really good car, but guys, if you have driven it, you'll know after 160 it struggles. I don't know about the latest Verna, but old Verna used to struggle after 160. This car pulls like there is no end to it. It doesn't lag. It doesn't feel like okay, it needs time. It just pulls constantly. That is the muscle power that this car holds. That is what makes me love this car. Now, if you ask me how much time it takes, I don't know, because I don't have a road where I can test it like that. And 0 to 100 also, I didn't find the right time to check it. So I'm really sorry I'm not able to provide you that one. But I hope you guys understand, especially because I've also put my car's number in the open, and if I go and test it out anywhere, as much as you guys love me, there are people who might create some problems. So I hope, as the loving community you all are, you will understand my situation right now. Okay, now let's address the second thing, which is, should you go for a piggyback or a tune? So there are a lot of tuners, reputed tuners out there, Code 6, then this E-tuners, Harmonix tuning, and a lot more. Wolf Motorsports, all those people are tuners who have done a great job, and there are a lot of, they have a huge portfolio of cars which have a stable tune and performing really well. Their tunes are not very expensive as well. It's similar to what Dieseltronic costs. Some are a little more expensive. They have stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Now let's talk about the pros and cons. As I've read on the internet, these tunes are supposed to be better than piggyback ECUs, because piggyback ECUs are fooling the ECU of the car. The tunes, they tune the car itself, so the car doesn't get fooled or anything. Everything works accordingly. That is the thing. But the con about this tuning versus piggyback is, in tuning you cannot change the modes. There are methods. I think Harmonix tuning has this AP something, I'm not sure, you can check it out on their website, which will allow you to change the tune, like get back to stock when you want and remove that. But I think that box is more expensive than their normal tunes itself, so, which is not practical. When you get a tune, you cannot change the modes, first of all. So when you're giving your car for service or anything, the tune is still there. You cannot remove it. In this case, I can just put it on stock and remove my, the switch that I have to change the modes, and I can keep it with me. But in a tuning, you can't do that. And I get 4 modes. In a stage 2 or a stage 3 car, you don't get modes. The car is tuned. And trust me, guys, when you're driving a car for a long time, maybe 20-30k kilometers, you get used to it. And no matter how much power difference you feel initially, later on you just grow into it. Unless and until you're constantly switching cars and you're driving other cars for a longer term, you don't feel the difference and you just grow into it and you're like, okay, fine. My car, that's the difference. Whenever I feel that okay, P1 is getting old, I just switch to P2 or I switch to stock. And when I drive in stock, I realize, oh my god, what P1 is. So that is there. The most important thing about why I chose Dieseltronic is because supposingly down the line, some after few years, I decide to sell my Cruise, right? I can remove the Dieseltronic box, I can put it into my next car, or maybe sell it separately, whoever is interested to buy it. If I'm going to put it into my other car, all I need to do is call up Race Dynamics, send them this box, ask them to retune it to that car and buy a new harness. One of my subscribers has done that, and the harness costed him 4,000 rupees. That's a good deal compared to what you lose everything that you have put into the tuning that you go. But as I said, each one has their own pros. There is a Cruise that has been tuned up to 210 bhp, the same model of mine, by Harmonix Tuning in a stage 1 plus tune something. So yeah, you get more power. I had called up Code 6 and they said stage 2 is maximum for Cruise because Cruise is already a very powerful car, you cannot go above that. So it will come up to 220 bhp in stage 2. So yeah, a little bit of difference is there obviously, but I think Dieseltronic is a more practical choice for me. I don't know about you. There is one of my subscriber who is who keeps messaging me on Instagram, and we are pretty close now. He is from Hyderabad and he has put Code 6 eTuner's tune for his Cruise, and his is a 166 bhp and it's gone up to 210 or 220 bhp, and he said that the performance is mind-blowing. So yeah, these are the things to consider, guys. If I missed out something, I'm really sorry. I'll try to mention it in the comments on my next video. Why you put a BMC air filter is because when you put such tunes, the car needs more air to breathe, because the fuel is going, the boost is going. If the air is not flowing properly, the car won't perform. That is when you need a BMC air filter or intake plumbing, something like that. For me, I settled with a replacement filter. If you're going with a stage 2 and all intake plumbing, they will only suggest. I need it. So when I got the tune, when I got Dieseltronic, my car had run 110,000 kilometers. You can see it in that video as well. But my car's condition was great because all the service was done in the showroom. That is why I went for it. If your car's condition isn't great, don't do it without taking a second opinion. So that is one suggestion I can give you guys. Also guys, I'm planning to sell my headlights, not the bulbs. I am not selling the bulbs inside the projectors or the high beams, but I'm selling the unit itself, the entire headlight unit. If I get a good price, I will sell it. I was expecting 12k, anything near close to 12k I will be interested to sell. I'm not yet completely decided on doing it, but I just had a thought that let me upgrade it or something. So yeah, if you guys are interested, you can comment down below, and I might, by the time this video goes up, if I've made my mind to sell it, then we can get in touch and I can get it shipped to you. Otherwise, I think I'll just keep it. I don't know. I have to think about it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel, like it, share it with people who are, car enthusiasts like you and me, who want to get things done to, see the performance of their car. Recently, I also got a decarbonization for my car and it did work. Initially, there was smoke, so I thought, this is not working, so I didn't want to mention it. But later, I think that was all the smoke that got burnt out that was coming out of the car. Now, barely there's any smoke. So I also suggest you guys to get a decarbonization done every 20,000 kilometers if your car is old, so your car stays in a good condition. The engine maintenance is good. So yes guys, very soon I'm going to get the oil changed. Now the car is not running because of lockdown. I'm not using it, so I'm not done anything. It's just parked today. I just went for a small round, got it washed. You can see the car there. It's there, right there, my baby. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have not watched the BMC air filter or my other list of Cruise videos, it's there in the channel, guys. Go watch my videos, subscribe to my channel, support this channel. Let's grow together. So see you in my next video. Bye bye.